We have a big room today, a lot of amazing faces. I'd say 70% of you I know, 30% of you I'm excited to get to know. So stoked to have you all here. Welcome. You are at a joyful masterclass for connection professionals. If that's not what you intended to do today, that's okay if you need to leave, but also you are welcome. I love to get caught up with each other and find out what the heck are you celebrating now that we haven't heard about since the last 2 months when I saw you in December. So if you could in the chat, share with us what's something you are celebrating or looking forward to that you would like your peers to know about. Uh, so don't share anything you don't want us all to know about. This is public. We can all see in the chat. But yeah, share in the chat. What are you celebrating? And yeah, I guess I could start. What am I celebrating? I think I'm very nervously excited to celebrate the accountability activity that Giannis and I are going to do today live on this call and in front of everyone. It's something that's been on my mind. Is my kind of a big intention for me in 2025. So excited about that. Loretta, new job and moving. Wow, maybe both tied to each other. Congratulations. And Chris, a new job. And it's barbecue day in Greece. Well, why are you here, Giannis, if this is barbecue day? Get your priorities straight.
I'm barbecuing afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. More importantly, Hansen, why aren't we there?
Yeah. You know what? That is the question. That is the question. Awesome. So thank you all for sharing your updates. Keep going if you haven't yet. Share what you're celebrating in the chat. This is a way for you to, if you see some friends in the room that you haven't had a chance to catch up to in a while, get caught up. And also, if you're new in the room, this is a way for us to get to know you and welcome you into the space and have some existing Connection Crew members say hello to you. And one way we like to kick things off is for you to quickly see a few of your friends and meet each other, maybe someone familiar, maybe someone new. And so we're going to do a little ice melter activity, as Sion Keck likes to call them. And so I'll invite you guys to go into a breakout room. It's going to be kind of rapid fire, only 1 minute each person. And you'll share your name and where you're from and what is your connection superpower. So I will model here real quick. So you know me, I'm Hansen. I'm from San Diego, actually born and raised here. And my connection superpower is bringing the right people together. So I always say bringing people together, but it's really intentionally about making sure the right people are in the room. And actually, there's a couple other people in this room who I think that's their superpower as well. So I'm excited to see who I share that with. But now we're going to go into completely random breakout rooms. And this is not who you'll be paired with for the rest of the day. Don't worry. But this is just for you to say hello to some new friends and meet some people in the connection crew or people who are interested in the crew. So on that note, Hennesis, if you want to take us all out into some breakouts. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a little fun getting to know each other. And I didn't get to hear all about your connection superpowers because we were all in breakout rooms. So if you're open to sharing in the chat, that would be awesome to share it with each other and let each other know. And it's so cool to see how we all approach connection, how we can all offer some unique strengths and traits that help people connect better. So thank you for being here. I know we had several other people joining. So if you didn't get to fully participate in the breakout rooms yet because you're a few minutes behind, welcome. You're in the right place. And let's kind of officially get started. So you are at a joyful masterclass for connection professionals. My name is Hansen. Yes, it's my first name. And no, I did not say handsome. And I lead community efforts at Covve, including hosting this Connection Crew and the Connection Crew community. What is Connection Crew? It's where connection professionals collaborate. Like you'll see today with our 3 panelists, we put a lot of work into making this joyful connection masterclass possible and collaborate on it. We're a team of connection peers, passionate about connection and inspired to take action to flatten the loneliness epidemic curve. Now, it's really for people, it's anyone's welcome, but we found that a lot of people doing inspiring connection work happen to be doing it alone. So we decided to bring you all together, to have a team and a place where your people can hang out and support each other and share resources. Um, so and often we get a question like, why Cove? Why is Cove involved in this and hosting the connection crew? And at Cove, we believe in the mission of flattening the loneliness epidemic curve and being more intentional with our relationships. One of the ways to do that. And so one way is these cool backgrounds you see some people have here. So if I have a QR code on my background, if you were to just scan that QR code, it allows us to quickly connect with each other and not kind of interrupt the flow of the experience today. So some connection crew members have a digital background like this, so that way you can easily stay in touch and get to know people and connect more afterwards. So that's just one of the ways Cove makes it possible to be more intentional with our connections. And so thank you, Giannis, and the rest of the Cove team for making this possible and believing in me personally to bring this crew together. It's been amazing to work on this project and with these people. And so thank you so much. And three main things we want you to take away today. One is just that really wonderful feeling of connection you get. Hopefully that's what we're walking away with. And then two, we want to teach you some new connection activities by modeling it, but then you're also going to practice it and learn by doing it in a breakout room. And we're going to share those activities in a doc with you afterwards so you can take these into your world and continue being more intentional and teaching people how to connect in your world. And then last but not least, at least one new friend today. You will be in a breakout room with the same person for 3 breakout rooms. So the intention is for you to see how that helps you get a little bit more intimate, a little more vulnerable, a little more connected with that one individual rather than trying to be like hyper networker mode, meeting everyone on the call today. And we focus on depth over breadth here, as I was just talking about. So a lot of times people are used to Zoom calls where they get to like share their LinkedIn with so many people and connect with a lot of different friends. We do things a little differently here, like I was just saying. So going for more intimacy and depth with one person to practice how that affects our connection with people, especially in a virtual space like this. And not everyone will feel an instant energetic connection with their buddy. Totally okay. That's just human nature. I invite you to notice how this format, though, gives you an opportunity to connect with people you may not normally have met. And that includes across the world. We have a global audience in the room. Often we even have people dialing in from India. So please be open and excited to meet people from a different place and different culture, and possibly even different language. And we follow a teaching model that is I do, we do, you do. So like I mentioned, we're going to show you first in 2 different ways, and then you're going to go to breakout round and do it yourself to really solidify the learning that's happening so you can practice this activity in your own life. And then there's an after party. We'll stay on for like 10 to 15 extra minutes after this is over, just to share, reflect, connect with more people. Maybe we haven't said hi to an old friend, and just be together afterwards and take a group photo that we'll post on LinkedIn. So if you want to be in the group photo, hang out. So quickly, I was talking about kind of why we're here and who's here and that level of loneliness within people who are in the connection world. Let's go ahead and launch a quick poll to find out, get a pulse check of how we are doing in our own work. What level of loneliness do you experience in your work as a connection professional? So are you on this connection mission with a team, or are you doing this kind of alone? Are you solopreneur, creator, freelancer, contractor? Do you have kind of a built-in strong team with you, or do you feel like you feel supported, or do you wish you could get some more support? And while we're getting it's only a quick minute, we're gonna do this poll. But I thought it'd be fun to share in the chat. Like if anything were possible, no barriers, you had access to anyone, who do you wish was on your chosen team? So if you got someone in mind, who do you wish you had on your team, working with you side by side, helping support you on this mission of connection? Who do you wish was on your team? I'm pretty blessed to say, like, I'm actually feeling like some of these people are on my team in the room here. Like Kevin Monroe in the room, of course. And but if I had to pick anyone, I feel like I want to pick the brain and be supported by like Adam Grant or someone like that. So I don't know. But yeah, feel free to share in the chat. I think we have almost everyone, Andy. So I think we can end the poll and share. We can share the results out with people too. Let's see what people how we're doing and the mix in the room. So overwhelming majority are like occasional loneliness, working alone, but good moments of connection. Yeah, I feel that too. That's kind of where I think if I were to respond to the poll, that's where I stand. But still interesting to see. There's some people in the room who are pretty lonely, really wish they had a team. And then there's 7 people who feel very supported. I'm curious to see like what that model looks like for them and what's involved in to make it feel so good to have a team like that. First up, I would love to welcome Giannis from Cove to the stage with me.
Hi, everyone.
There we go. And welcome, Yanni. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
And,
Hansen.
and I will do this part of your intro for you because it took me probably 8 months of knowing you before realizing this. But when you in Greek culture, when I'm referring to Giannis, it's Giannis. But when I'm talking to Yanni, it's Yanni. I'm saying hi, Yanni. Something to know about the culture that took me a long time to learn. But
Thank you,
welcome.
Hansen.
It's so good to have you here, Yanni. But I want to explain that in case people are wondering why I was calling you a different name. Maybe do a quick intro. There's people in this room who have never met you. I know a lot of people have, but probably 40% don't know who you are. So do a quick little share about you and maybe something you appreciate about yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm Yannis. I got it wrong. I'm Yannis. I love food. I love connecting people, and I have a passion for theater. And our mission at Cove is actually to help people build meaningful relationships. That's what we do. We do it through community, through the connection crew, which is why we're here. And thank you to everyone here. We do it through education. So we collaborate with thought leaders across the world on sharing knowledge on why and how we build meaningful relationships. And we do it through technology. And I personally embarked on the mission because I realized how important relationships have been in my career and my life in general. And one thing I appreciate about myself is the fact that I really, really enjoy connecting with people, especially people that are very different than I am, so from different backgrounds and perspectives. And I love connecting people with one another.
I have witnessed it too, also in person. If you've ever met Giannis in person, which he joined us at both Culture Cons, so several of the Connection Crew team got to meet out in those conferences. He lights up a room, but also he lights up when he's connecting with someone new, and it's really fun to watch that energy. So definitely an extrovert, though.
Absolutely.
And I want to preface this with just saying I'm grateful for you being willing to let me challenge myself and you on these calls to lead by example and model some hard conversations and hard things. We've done a live feedback session on a master class and how we do that with each other and with actually our partners at CultureCon. And we've done some other things that like require us to get vulnerable in front of a room of 100 people. So we're going to do that again today. And I'm grateful for that. And personally, for the room, just to be aware, like one of my 2025 intentions is to really practice and improve around my own accountability. And that looks like making sure I do the things I said I was going to do, but also not saying I'm going to do more than I possibly can. And then where I'm out of accountability, making sure I'm recovering from that. So, for Connection Crew to really be this high performance team that will ultimately flatten the loneliness epidemic curve, we're going to need to be able to collaborate well. And a vital ingredient to making that possible is trusting each other to do what we said we were going to do and supporting each other in that process. So, trust is at the core of meaningful connection. Yet we all experience moments where commitments are missed. It's human. I do it all the time. I'm very human. How we respond to those moments determines whether trust erodes or deepens. So this trust reset activity guides us through a structured conversation, helping practice acknowledged miscommitments, and taking ownership, making meaningful amends. And by the end, the goal is to feel more connected and rebuild trust. Now, this is some kind of rules start. This is not about shaming someone or attacking them. This is not me pointing the finger at Yanni, being like, you didn't do this thing, like in front of everyone. This is about offering support to each other, to our teammates, so that they may get back into connection with you and the team. It's also important to remember this is about you. This is about you feeling out of accountability, not whether others think you are. So you can say, no, if someone offers support, but you feel in integrity with your agreements, like you're good. It's about, are you good with your agreements? Not whether someone else is good or not with theirs. That's their own piece that they need to work on. So I will just model first like what this might look like. We have a little process that in a second we'll share with you guys in the chat so you can follow it too. But first off, I missed a commitment. I was not just late to a meeting on Tuesday, an important meeting with one of our strategic partners with Covve. I didn't even realize it was happening. And so I was trying to join another meeting and I was told like, oh no, you should be on this one. Where are you? And that was like 18 minutes after it started. The impact that had on myself is I'm really hard on myself. I have extremely high expectations and feel a lot of like guilt and it kind of reinforcing this thing that like I'm not accountable. I don't do the things I said I was going to do. How does that impact others? Like, well, basically, these are our strategic partners, but also the Covve team who I work for are now thinking, oh, Hansen doesn't care about the meetings that we set, our important meetings. Hansen doesn't show up. I don't trust Hansen to even see the calendar invites. All kinds of ways that they probably don't, or they trust me just a little bit less after that. And so there's this, I can do some sort of small action to kind of get back into account with myself and with the team. So for me, that looks like in this instance, like integrating my calendars. I've been kind of, I don't know, shirking the task for a while now to like integrate my Outlook and my Google Calendar so that way I have one and I can see everything and be on time and be at the meeting. So I don't miss invites going forward. And then I would say like, okay, what do I need for support to get that done? Melina on the Covve team, who we work closely with, she's on the call, but not on the spotlight here. I'm asking Melina to help me next Tuesday by sending me a new Outlook calendar invite so I could test the calendar integration that I set up. So very specific timeline, Tuesday. I've asked Melina for help. She said yes, but usually you need the person to say yes and consent to helping you and offering support. But yeah, she's willing to help me. So she's going to send me a calendar invite next Tuesday and make sure it works. And then my own follow through, like where do I check in on this to make sure I did it and we're good? Next Thursday, we have our team meeting with Giannis and Melina, and I just want to let her know that the calendar worked. I've finished it, and we're good to go for all future invites to send my Outlook email calendar invites. So now we'll share that model in the chat so you can see exactly kind of what questions I was asking myself. But now I would love to do it live with Giannis. And so, Giannis, are you open to support?
I am.
All right,
That's good.
cool. It would have been awkward if we said no right there, though. We would just Is there a commitment that you recently missed?
Yes, unfortunately, there is. I had promised my team and actually Melina, since you mentioned Melina specifically as well, that I would do a LinkedIn post every week. I don't especially enjoy exposure on social media. So I promised that I would be doing it. And I promised that I would take a lot of information from the team, from the education team to actually do this. And I didn't.
Mhm.
I can say that I was excusing myself by saying that I did have a 39, okay, this is Celsius, fever. So I had a very high fever. And we were actually supporting a very big conference of 2,000 people. And I had a speech in that conference. But actually, it wasn't top of my priority list. So yeah,
All right.
I didn't do it.
Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I can imagine. So what was the impact on you personally for not completing that?
So I'll echo guilt because the team did. I didn't only promise it, but the team actually did work and sent me ideas and some discussion points. So I felt guilt. I felt pressure that I disappointed the team. I got actually chased for it, which I generally don't like being chased about anything. So yeah, it was a very, yeah, it wasn't a good feeling.
And how do you think that might have impacted the team or other people?
Well, again, considering that I had promised I would do it, and considering that there was work being done by the team to help me do it, I think the team would have been, I mean, they were disappointed, I'm sure, and they had to chase me, which, yeah, and they don't usually do that. So, yes, I don't think I think they felt a bit disappointed.
And maybe they're not quite sure they can trust you to do all your LinkedIn posts in the future.
I'm sure they don't trust me to do my LinkedIn post in the future.
Is there a small act of service or action you can take to rebuild trust, to get back into connection?
So I've yeah, I can schedule, and I've scheduled actually a specific time in my calendar that I'm scheduled to actually spend time building my post. I've also added it to our weekly education meeting agenda. So I feel more accountability about presenting what I'm going to be doing in that session.
And what would support look like for you to help you like follow through next time on this?
So to be honest, I have been asking for support, and by all means, anyone who has any ideas. I wanted ideas because I need to find something I'm really comfortable in sharing. So
Mm,
I was looking for ideas to actually help me be comfortable in sharing and not sharing by force.
mm, I love that. Maybe we could follow up with the team on that one. I did hear you say kind of already answered the last one. You're going to add it to the agenda on your team meeting with the education team. So that's a very specific timeline. You're going to check in with the team and kind of have some built-in accountability. But important
Yes.
last like wrap up for folks is to like know that I have a date, I have a specific action when I'm going to follow up and with the team. Awesome. And how did it feel to receive that accountability support in this way?
Well, yeah, it does feel good. I agree with you that it does go back to building trust, and generally, I see accountability as fundamental in both professional development and personal. It does build ownership. So it's not just about the relationship building; it's about the ownership building and making sure we're not stalling our tasks and moving very fast forward. And especially from my side, I should be lining up the example for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Giannis. I and everyone, if you're open to sharing a thank you in the chat for Yanni being willing to do this in front of everyone. I mean, we're talking with the CEO and co-founder of Covve here, practicing accountability in front of everyone. And I want to remind you that this is not to shame Giannis. This is for Giannis and I and the Covve team to get closer together so we can do harder things and bigger projects and flatten this loneliness epidemic curve together. So I feel closer to them. Giannis feels closer to them. And it's not also for me to tell Giannis what to do with his accountability. Like this has got to be his own work, and I have my own work, and we can kind of self-identify how we can get back into accountability. So thank you, Yanni. Next,
Thank you, Hansen.
let's kick this party off with our very first panelist and activity for the day that you all get to participate in. If you want to welcome to the stage Lia James. There she is. Hi, Lia.
Hi.
So stoked to have you here. And in terms of accountability and the theme of that, it was cool to be able to like collaborate in a really honest and good way yesterday. So thank you so much for providing some clear feedback and ideas and making this even better today for us because of that. So super grateful for you for being here. I would love to invite you to share with the group here what you do a little bit, and then what is something you appreciate about yourself.
I am a facilitator and connector. So I create experiences for people to come together and connect in really authentic ways, whether that's in a business space or community development or personal development. They show up in all different types of ways. And something I appreciate about myself, wow, that was a mouthful. Something I appreciate about myself is my curiosity. I think for a long time it was ridiculed because I have a lot of questions, and I finally sort of found a place for those questions to exist and thrive, which is cool.
Maybe that's what I felt yesterday was like your curious energy because you're like coming in
That's
with
very
a question.
possible.
And you asked me if I was open to it. So I was like, okay, bring it on.
I always ask if you're open. You got to ask if you're open because if you're not, then it doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I appreciate you, and I will let you have the spotlight, and hope folks enjoy the activity. Take it away.
Thank you, Hansen. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. I love what people are doing here with the Connection Crew and finding places to connect in really curious ways. I know virtual can be sometimes pretty awkward, but I personally love it as a connector because it's given me access to people that I might not have found in my own personal life otherwise. Um, as Hansen asked me to talk a little bit about like my facilitation and connection, just so you have a little bit of background, my work is rooted in workforce development, career changing, personal development, and learning and leadership. Um, and today we're gonna play a little bit with your first breakout with your partner. Um, but before we get there, I have a question. Has anyone in this group in the chat, I want to know, in conversation, do you ever find yourself asking a lot of questions and not really getting it reciprocated and not feeling like there's space for you to really open up or introduce yourself? Like, who is that person in the conversation? Okay. So now reverse it for a second. Are you the person in the conversation where you're like, I am amazing with stories. I have stories out the wazoo and I could just share anytime in any situation. And oh my gosh, people are just going to love it. Yeah. And you're like, they'll share when they're ready to share. Like, I don't want to invade. I don't want to ask questions. I don't want to intrude on someone's personal experience. They'll share because you're comfortable sharing, right? Who's that person? Who's the storyteller? Yeah. Okay. So what I noticed in my work is those two personalities get matched up a lot in conversation, and we tend to miss each other in conversation. Now add the virtual component to it, and we find that we see people in monologue a lot. I don't know if anyone's used to that, where because you've gotten so used to muting and unmuting, you in person, when you're live in real life, like human to human, you find someone just sort of talking, pause. And it's like kind of robotic. Yeah. So because we were seeing these different personalities showing up, I started to notice that there was this loss of volley in conversation. And I really love the volley and the dance in conversation. And it makes it easier to connect with someone if we both get space to show up, to connect, to share parts of ourselves that are safe in that moment. And to do that, we created a card deck. It's this 2 deck card game, physical card deck. It's pretty cool. And we don't have time to play the whole game today, but we modified it to make it fun for you all. So I'm going to put up a little background real quick for you. And we're going to play in our breakout rooms. Okay, so you see behind me some questions. Can everyone see these questions? I know that I think we're going to pop them in the chat too, just to be safe. Or not questions, sorry, they're story prompts. So these story prompts, I want you to, I'm going to pause for a second. I just want you to read the different stories. And is there one that's just like calling to you that you're like, oh, I have a story. I want to share this. I haven't shared this story in a while. Or, oh, this takes me down memory lane. This is exciting. Pick the one that's really just like calling at you. That's going to be your story card for our time in our breakout rooms with your partner. And we're going to demo it for you. But what's going to happen is when you're in your breakout room, you're going to share a story from your story card, your one and only story card. And then your partner is going to share their story, and you're just going to hold space for each other. All right. Can I actually get help from Dané to come up and model this with me? Hey, how's it going?
Good. I'm excited.
Is Yeah,
Game.
I'm excited to hear your story. So, is there a card here that you're just like, yep, I got a story for that. I want to share it. What is that card?
Yes, it is the card Share a Story About Strangers.
Ooh, can you share that story for me, please?
Absolutely. I love meeting strangers. I'll talk to anyone, anywhere pretty much. And I meet the most fascinating people, especially when I'm traveling. And when I saw this card, I instantly remembered this this older gentleman. His name was Fiorno, and he was I believe it was a cab driver. It wasn't Uber. I hopped in a cab at O'Hare Airport to go into downtown Chicago, which, if any of you know, it's a little bit of a drive. It's probably about 30 minutes, depending on traffic. And we had the most lovely conversation. He had this lovely accent, which I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember if it was Italian. But he told me about his daughters who were adult age and kind of going out on their own. And he was eating some type of cured meat and hard cheese. He had the knife right there and the counsel, and he offered me some, and I was starving. So of course I took it, and it was so good. It was exactly what I needed. And then we ended the conversation. And later that day, I was telling my partner about this lovely gentleman that I met, and oh my God, the meat and the cheese that he had, it was amazing. And my partner was appalled that I had taken this man's food and was eating it. And to me, I was like, well, what? Of course, I was starving, and he offered it to me. So it brought back a smile to my face to remember just that brief but meaningful exchange with another lovely human being.
I love that story so much, and I have so many questions, but this is not the time for the questions. Thank you for sharing your story. So then what we would do is we would switch, and I would pick a card and I would share my story. And I want to be thoughtful about time. So I think we have to pop you all over to your groups, but I want to explain that in just a second. So you're going to switch back and forth, just like Dané shared her card, and then I would pick a card or have it in mind and share it. When we put you in your groups, this is your first time meeting your breakout person for the rest of the remainder of our time together. So when you're together, make sure you take 30 seconds just to introduce yourself. Not like your role or anything like that, but like who you are as a person, maybe where you are, maybe something fun about yourself. But just take 30 seconds and then share the card that you want to share the story about, share your story, and then switch partners. And if you're not sure who to go first, lean on the person who had the most recent birthday. That's who's going to go first, or choose your own adventure. That's okay too. I'm not going to be in a breakout room. I won't know. And with that, I think, Hansen, are we ready to hop into the breakout groups?
Yeah, let's go, Genesis. We got it.
Oh, we're all back. Hi. How is everybody? I want to know in the chat, like, how did that go? How were those stories? How did it feel to reminisce or reflect on a story that was popped up from those prompts? I'm also curious, as you listened to your partner tell their story, do you wish you had more time to ask questions? Like, were there certain curiosities that came up out of theirs? Like, kind of how when Dané was talking, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many questions. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the second half of our game. It actually teaches that volley back and forth, whether you're really good at coming up with the follow questions or you need help with those follow-up questions. Um, it helps give you the tools or the structures to get really curious and go there, and like that it's okay. So those people in the beginning that were like, I ask all the questions, no one asks about me, this helps you. The person that's like, I don't ask questions, I just have all the stories, this helps you too. But it's just really fun to see where you can pull threads from different stories and find those connections. So I'm curious, like, let me see. There were some good questions that came in here, I think. Did anyone share a question that they had for their person that you're like, I just wish I knew more about X? Oh, you were asking questions, follow-up questions as the breakout room was shutting off. I'm so sorry.
It feels maybe slightly cruel to tell them to
I
share their stories
know.
and then not allow them to ask questions.
I know it is, but it's okay because you have two more breakout rooms with these people, and each one is going to be an opportunity to learn more about the other person and share more stories. So I'm also just gonna share these like for you, if they come up at all and you need a little bit of help for asking questions or getting curious or to spark some other curious questions. Hopefully these can give you a little bit of framework for yourself. I love seeing so many comments. We were asking questions even before we got the stories. I love that. Well, I hope that each of these breakout rooms are an opportunity for you all to continue to connect, get deeper, learn different ways to connect with each other, and like just get curious. Let your curiosity take you on really wild paths, and don't be afraid to ask a question and trust that your partner or the other person is going to set the boundaries they need to stay safe, to stay comfortable, and not force vulnerability that might not be there yet. Um, have fun. Thank you so much, Hansen. I really appreciate you having me here. And yeah, have fun, everyone.
Thank you so much, Leah. And everyone in the chat, please give Leah a shout out. Super grateful for her being here. And I don't know, I forget if you actually mentioned it, Leah, but she was holding a deck of cards in her hands. Those are her curious cards that you can buy on her website. Super awesome cards and nice little tool to have in your pocket as you're going out and meeting new people or getting more curious about people you've met before. So thank you, Leah. Please share our gratitude in the chat with her. And we will move on to our very next panelist, Dané Johnson. Please welcome to the stage. Oh my goodness. I was trying to pick my walk-up song yesterday, and I almost went with Lizzo. So,
Love Lizzo. Love
just feel
her.
like we share that a little bit. I ended up going with Queen anyways, though. It's more my heart and soul. But welcome, Dané. So grateful to have you here. Good to see you. It's been a long time in the making to bring you on as a panelist for the Connection crew. And I'm just so grateful that it's finally here. I can see you and it's real. We've basically done all the hard work. And now we get to share your magic and wisdom with the room. But not everyone knows you. So if you would, please briefly introduce yourself. And I would invite you to share what is something you appreciate about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Dané Johnson. It's lovely to be with you all. I am a leadership development consultant and coach. I also do a lot of experience design and facilitation. So I loved connecting with Lia and hearing about her work in that space. My practice is called Dané Johnson Collaborations because I love to collaborate with individuals. And I also serve as a senior organizational health consultant for SR4 Partners that focuses on leaders, teams, culture, and change. So really excited to be here with you all today. And, my what I appreciate about myself was going to be curiosity, but then Lia said that. So I think following curiosity, I find myself to be a pretty non-judgmental person. I, really believe in live and let live, and it takes all kinds. And so when I dive into curiosity with individuals, I try to bring that energy of non-judgment and acceptance, and just really being in a place of wanting to know about them, not to make any specific judgments about them.
I particularly jive with people who are non-judgmental, so maybe that's why we connected. Thank you. Well, I'm stoked you're here and that everyone gets to experience your activity today. I will let you have the floor.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today. As Hansen said, I've attended these for quite some time, and we've been talking about me being a panelist, and it's finally here. So I'm excited to share with you today a brief activity that explores the power of presence when you're wanting to really express empathy to someone. And I know you all here are connection-oriented individuals, so most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with empathy. But as a reminder, at its most basic level, empathy is the ability to understand and share in the feelings of another. But what I find is most important, is just as important about understanding what empathy is also understanding what it is not. As humans, when someone is sharing an experience of a strong emotion with us, we can tend to get a little uncomfortable. And then we resort to other ways of behaving that are not empathy. And this might look like sympathy, as in, oh, I'm so sorry this happened. Sometimes we resort to consoling, everything will be okay. We might try to advise or solution, as in, what you should do is this. We might try and explain, well, I think this probably happened because, or we might want to either commiserate or connect back to ourselves in some way, as in like, well, I know just how you feel because the same thing happened to me, and da 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 da. And most of the time, our intent is really good when we go to these behaviors. We want to be helping the person in some way, but there's usually a part of that that's really just trying to avoid the discomfort of being with the person who is deeply sad, or who is intensely joyful, or just experiencing some other heightened emotion, because we're not so used to that. But none of those behaviors are empathy. True empathy is really allowing someone to be fully in their experience, and to sit with them in real presence in that experience. And this means focusing completely on the person and what matters to them, and giving them the space to feel all the feels, and to express their feelings. So it's a really powerful way to connect with someone. And to practice it, we're going to consider an instance where you experienced one of the following emotions in a strong or a heightened way. And the emotions we're going to work with are joy, peace, anxiety, and sadness. And you can start thinking about this now, a situation in which you felt joy, peace, anxiety, or sadness in a particularly acute way. When we get into pairs, we're going to share with our partner what it was like to have the experience of those emotions. And you won't need to share any details about the situation. I just want you to be able to share how it was for you to experience it. All right. And as a partner, you will simply practice empathetic presence by being fully with that person as they share. And I'm going to go first and demonstrate that with Cole. If we can bring Cole up, please. Hi, Cole. Thank you for being with me today.
Nice to see you, Dané.
Nice to see you too. I'm going to share an experience of really heightened anxiety. This past December, I had been having, I was experiencing some low level anxiety that kept building. It was going on. I'd had a busy schedule for a couple of weeks, and I could feel this anxious energy kind of building in me every day. I was tired, and I was struggling with some insecurity around work. I was just striving really hard to do a certain number of things. And this anxiety, it was always sitting right here at the top of my chest and kind of just below my throat. I felt it in my shoulders, I felt it in my jaw and my temples. And one day it just culminated in an eruption. It was a total overreaction to a comment my partner made. But I couldn't keep it in anymore. And after that, I felt completely embarrassed. I felt guilty for taking it out on my partner. And I had some shame that, that I wasn't able to, that I let myself get to that point, I guess. And I ended up in tears, and I had to withdraw. I had to spend a couple days with myself, just getting my grounding again. Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that with me, Dané. Thank you for feeling safe to share this with myself and everyone today.
Yeah, thank you, Cole. And now I'd invite you, Cole, if you are open to sharing an experience with me.
Certainly. Quite recently, I was part of a community space, and I would say I misjudged a boundary that I did not know was the depth of a boundary. I severely misjudged, and the reaction that I received back not only was very jarring, but it threw me for a loop physically, mentally, emotionally, and I'm still recovering from it. But we live and learn from our experiences, and I will be better for it in the long run. But it definitely has thrown me for a loop these last couple of weeks, and I got to this point where I was questioning really who I was as a human and the depth that I show up with in this life, because I know that's who I am. I show up with so much depth and curiosity, and it had me really questioning who I was. And we're taking it one moment at a time, but I know I will be better for this in the long run.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Cole.
You're very welcome.
Okay. And now we're going to move into the space where you will get to practice this. You're going to go back into your breakout room with your same partner, so you'll be a little bit familiar with them. And you're going to take turns sharing about your experience of either heightened joy, peace, anxiety, or sadness. And remember, you don't have to share any details of the situation, just how you experienced it, what your feelings were. The first partner will share for about 2 minutes, and then you'll switch. Remember, if you are the listening partner, your job is just to be fully present, to practice that empathetic presence. You don't have to say or do anything. I want you to try and extend empathy through your being, not by doing anything. Of course, we feel compelled to say something after a partner shares something like that. And I'd invite you just to simply say, thank you for sharing that with me. When the first sharing is complete, because this is a little bit of a more vulnerable and heavy exercise, I encourage you to take a couple moments to recenter. So the first partner shares, and then you might take a couple breaths, maybe shake out your arms and shoulders, and then you'll switch roles. And in each of these roles, I want you to pay attention to what it's like for you to practice empathy in this way, both giving it and receiving it. So again, 2 minutes for each, recenter in between, and the instructions are in the chat. And so we will see you after the breakout room. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for leaning into that exercise. I know it can be a little intense, perhaps a little uncomfortable. And I know there might have been some, intense energy there. So I invite you, before we do the debrief, if you want to shake it out, kind of clear the energy, come back to center, a couple deep breaths. And then I'd love to know, in the chat, I'd love to hear from you. What was it like for you to practice empathy in that way? At first, I'd love to see just kind of a waterfall of chat. What was it like for you to try and offer empathy, to try and express empathy just through your being? I'm seeing the chat. Oh my, wow. Biting my tongue a lot. Yeah, it's hard to just be, we want to say things. Oh, good. It felt really natural and invoked my own feelings from Sandra. Thank you. A little uncomfortable not to ask questions, of course. Hard not to express more after their story. Totally natural. It's challenging to listen and just be. It is. We want to go, we want to do, we want to fix, we want to solve. And yet there's so much power and actually a natural help and natural solutions that can come about when we allow somebody to just be feeling what they're feeling, to just hear about their experience without taking on anything on ourselves to solve, without putting anything else on them to move in a different direction or to not feel what they're feeling. Yeah, it was, yes, great. And so now I'd love to start, if you want to share, what was it like for you to experience receiving empathy that way? Just a few words in the chat. Thank you, Shelby. I felt honored to be in that space with the partner. Yeah. Appreciative of how universal our anxieties are. Absolutely. It was validating. Felt understood and heard. Yes. Felt like universal acceptance. Felt human. Thank you. Yeah. It's pretty exceptional when you realize, oh, I can just be here as I am. This person doesn't want anything from me. They're not trying to change anything about me right now or anything about this space or this presence. I get to just be with how I am. It's unique. Unfortunately, it's more unique than I would hope it would be. And so that's why I was glad to share this activity with you today. And I encourage you to think about how you might put this into the practice when you're seeking connection with others. And especially I've noticed in myself, as a consultant and a coach, it's easier for me to do this when I'm in my coach mode and when I'm in my professional relationships. I tend to with my brother, with my partner, I go into the solutioning, I go into the consoling. And so I challenge you to bring this into your personal life with the people closest to you. Can you let them just be the next time they need to just be and feel? So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dané.
Back over to Hansen.
Let's all give a massive waterfall of gratitude for Dané and her facilitating us through that empathy practice. So thank you so much. And our final panelist and final activity today to take us across the finish line. Let's bring up Cole Johnson to the plate. Welcome, Cole. And of course, Cole leads with a little dance music for us. That can help us shake the energy too. You do have to. I love it. Well, thank you for being here, Cole. Stoked to have you here. Thank you for your vulnerable share with Dané's activity too in front of the room. I'd love for people to more officially get to know you. So if you could introduce yourself and what is something you appreciate about yourself.
Thanks, Hansen. Yeah, thanks everyone for having me. So like I said earlier, I'm very deep, explorative, and curious soul that it's really my goal in this life to shine a light on the humanity, on our shared humanity. And I really do this through creating spaces of trust, respect, and safety, one connection and conversation at a time. I found that oftentimes I get overwhelmed by really all the outside noise and the macro of it all. And I found that when I'm able to just zone in on the micro actions that I take every single day, it really helps me zone in on what I can control and just live a more connected life.
Thank you, Cole. And I'm not gonna get in your way any longer so I'll let you take it away with the group and shine a light on our humanity.
Sounds great, Hansen. All right, thanks everyone. So we are really teed up wonderfully for this with Lia's exercise on curiosity and Dané's on empathy. So really, like I mentioned, with shining a light on humanity, what I want to do today is really dive into experiences that I've had over the last several years, especially with one-to-one conversations I've had where I've been in conversation, and through both words and stillness, there's this container of safety that I really mentioned, that it's really a beautiful thing when we can cultivate this sense of presence and peace with the human being that's across from us, especially in this fast-paced world where it can be just going on to the next thing and not truly embracing and seeing and being with the person in front of us. And so that's really what the goal of this is today, is about being in the moment with the person across from us, both through words and through stillness. And so it's about really having a dialogue about one word or phrase that you feel embodies the person's presence that you are in a breakout room with, and then also what led you to this word or phrase. And then also I feel it's important to have a dialogue back and forth of, do you feel the word resonates for you? Because I think it's a nice way to have a dialogue back and forth with your partner as well. And I just feel like embodying this through words is a beautiful way. And then at the end, once you will switch with your partner, I would love you to sit for the remaining time in the breakout rooms, just in pure blissful stillness, because as it's one way to shine a light on our humanity through words, you can also do that through silence as well. And so once both of you have shared with one another, I would encourage you to just sit in silence as the breakout room time expires as well. And so with that, I would love to bring Lia back up, and we will model this together now.
Hi, Cole.
Hey, Lia. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
All right. So I would love to ask you, in this moment, what one word or phrase do you feel really, or what is one word that you feel really best is how you experience my presence?
Light, like glowing light.
I really appreciate that. What has led you to this word or phrase? Super curious.
I think it's your posture and your cadence in your speak. It just has this like light, airy glow to it. I don't know. Does that resonate with you?
It really does. You know, I remember a few years ago, I was working with somebody, and it was the first time that I had heard that I had this healing vibe and energy to me, and I never had seen myself with this light or healing energy to myself before. But ever since then, that's always stuck with me, and I just try to lead myself with just this light energy, because I think there's enough darkness in the world, and I just try to counterbalance that. And I think they play off of each other, and we need the light, we need the dark, but I do find that this is a very, very much resonance for me. So I appreciate you sharing this with me, Lia. Okay, so I think that gives us a little bit of a taste of what this activity could look like. So what we would do at this point now is to reverse it and then just basically go through the same dialogue again in reverse. And what I would invite everyone to do once both people have shared, like I said, take the rest of the time in the breakout room to just sit in stillness. And a couple of words to note about this is that, you know, we've engaged in curiosity, empathy, and going deeper into presence now. This may get uncomfortable, and that is by design of this, but hopefully just try to be in the moment as much as you can. Your breath is your friend through all of this, of course, and just try to ground yourself where you are as much as you can. And we will put the prompts in the chat as well. And in terms of who goes first, Whoever's recently made tea can, of course, go first, or volunteer is always good as well. And so just remember, last reminder, this is about the person's energy and presence in this moment right now, not about someone's life story. So just remain in this present moment as much as you can. And yeah, I think with those reminders, I think we're in pretty good shape. Welcome back. It looks like everyone's on their way back in. All right, I'd love to hear again, just what were the feelings, if you're comfortable sharing in the chat. This concept of being versus doing, it can be so easy to just go on to the next thing, whether online or in real life. Obligations, responsibilities, it can be so easy to just go on to the next thing. But what were the feelings like just being in pure presence with the person across from you, even for a brief moment, however long that went?
A lot of beautiful shares in the chat, Cole. I'm not sure if you're seeing.
It really is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And varied too, which I love, because I feel like one thing I've been pondering a lot lately is this concept of connection, and how there's so many different definitions. It's so personal to us, and that can change over time too. And I just find it so beautiful that whether the activities around connection can be so varied, so can our definitions and understandings of it too. And I love this. So I really appreciate all of the shares here, and everyone's willingness to go deep on these exercises. Yeah, so just thanks again for sharing, everyone. I would just say, I just really appreciate you all being willing to share and be open with me, sharing here in the chat with all of us in the activities here today, and hopefully take these activities or the energy of connection into your daily lives and communities, whatever that looks and feels like for you. And I just really appreciate you all affording me the opportunity to share a piece of myself and my story with all of you. And just thank you very much.
Thank you, Cole. And please share a huge round of gratitude in the chat with Cole. Him and I have a very similar journey of kind of pivoting to be more aligned with our mission, our personal life missions of connection, and the I don't know, the emotional journey that takes you through going and trying this new thing. And so stoked to have Cole in front of this whole room with the connection crew today, and sharing his light with us. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you, Hansen.
Oh, got to do more body movement, more shaking. Thank you, everyone, for your shares in the chat. We are wrapping up. I know it's kind of an interesting energy to transition into more like exiting after that wonderful experience. But we have one final poll and then a prompt to invite you to share in the chat something. But as we are capturing some of your poll responses of what would be the most helpful way to keep connected and kind of continue your connection journey going forward, what would be the most helpful resources in the very near future, we will be actually launching the kind of the community portal, community platform where we can keep connected asynchronously. Also a note that if you click the one that says collaborate with Covve Connection Crew, like this masterclass, that's what lets me know to reach out to you to invite you to be a future panelist, and have a conversation with you about it. That's what I look for. So if you don't click that, I may not reach out to you about it. And invite you to share in the chat. What feeling are you leaving with today? What are you feeling right now? Maybe that's changed since the beginning. What feeling are you taking away back out into the world with the ripple effects from the connection crew? How are we going to impact the world? What energy are we bringing back to them? Kevin's feeling love. We got Jen feeling refreshed. Love it. Ollie feeling peace and wholeness. We got gratitude, wholeness, energized, pep in my step. I love it. Me too. Jen, valuable. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I know it is 10:29 my time, so if you have to go, completely understand. We will stay on for another 10 minutes or so with the after party. And one of the first things we do is take a group photo. So if you do have a couple extra minutes to stay for the group photo, we'd love to capture you in that. We can go ahead and close that poll out now and say our official goodbye to people who need to leave now. Thank you for being here. It was a pleasure co-creating this experience with Lia and Dané and Cole and the whole team. So thank you for being a part of that. And now we are ready for the after party and our group photo. So let's bring everyone on Spotlight. I don't know about you, but I switched my Zoom settings to show me 50 people in one screen now, so I can see more faces. And it's like, you're all tiny, but at least I get to see all of you now, because I hate when I have like so many screens. And there's still 2 pages full. But man, thank you, everyone. It is so good to be here with you. Andy, can you walk us through taking our group photo together so we can let any folks go that need to go before the photo?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna do a little 3, 2, 1 countdown. I'm gonna take 3 screenshots because I actually have 2 pages. So
2 pages.
yes. So 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that's the first one, and I got my gloves.
One more. Do your big connection energy face, people.
All right, everyone. 3, 2, 1, and we got it. Hansen, all yours.
Oh, wow, that feels good. How are you guys feeling? I would love to hear from maybe start with a couple returning folks, share how that went today, and maybe some what you noticed different this time. And then I'll invite some folks who it was your first time. I'd love to hear and get to know some new friendly faces. Sandra, can I pick you?
You can pick me. Thank you for picking me. I got picked first for dodgeball. This one, I don't know. It really, really different in just stillness and in the things that we were disclosing. Every single one of these is always an experience of, hey, stranger, now I feel like I want you to come over, please, and have dinner with me. And let's get to know each other better. So in terms of stamping out the loneliness epidemic, definitely in this gathering, I feel it every time. And what I wish and hope for everybody is that we're able to take this energy, give ourselves grace, and keep going and bringing this message out to others in the world. We were on a call earlier with Kevin and Carrie and Kim, Bernie Brook, Carrie, Lou, Lawrence, I lost your face. And we were just talking about how can we do our work so that it has the most exponential results for all of the humans in the world. We started with the question, what's right in the world that needs to be protected? And we all sort of sat there staring at each other, really having a hard time coming up with what's right in the world right now that we need to help protect. And it's us. It's us. It's all these faces right here.
Yeah.
Love you guys. I'm done.
Thank you, Sandra. What about someone it was your first time? Who are the first timers in the room? Welcome. Molly, you want to share how that went for you?
Hi there. Yes. So it was Sandra who invited me to this lovely crew. So first, thank you. And I am marveling in not only the difference in what I feel right now in terms of how I'm feeling, being, etc., from definitely 10 minutes ago, but then even to an hour ago. And I reflect on it was pretty simple instructions that were given, right? That wasn't too heavy. There wasn't a ton of setup, and yet what a difference it made. Yes, we are people who are already kind of connectors and kind of jive with the language, but I find it pretty remarkable what a difference it can make. And like Sandra, I'm like, all right, so then kind of like that, now what, right? And kind of the our own marching orders, whether it be individually or as a collective, to go forth and what to do with this greater energy. So thank you for hosting this, everyone. And it's, thank you. A joy to be here.
Thank you, Molly. And Jesper, I would love to hear from you and also point out to folks in the room that he's likely next up on the panelist docket for March Masterclass. So love to hear how that was for you, Jesper.
Always an experience to really have these open conversations with new people and really learn more about how they serve the world and really building that connection with them. All these conversations have been very productive, insightful, just bringing a sense of togetherness and belonging. It's just very refreshing.
Well, thank you for being here with us and being willing to accept the challenge that Dané just went through and Lia just went through and Cole just went through of consolidating your wisdom into a 5-minute breakout room activity. Uh, any other, you could raise your hand. I don't want to have to like just call on you if you're feeling called to speak. Maybe do a little hand raise. Ollie, how did it go?
Yeah, it was my first time. Thank you, Kevin Monroe. And I loved it. I loved it so much, really deep. What I like is that back to back, we are connecting with the same person. So we are getting to know more the same person. And that's amazing.
Thank you. And Priscilla, if you guys want to do the
Um,
little hand raise in Zoom, that'll let me know kind of the order it came in too. I will do my best to see your actual hand too, if not. But go ahead, Priscilla.
yeah, it was emotional. Like I can't believe I cried and I couldn't stop crying. So yeah, it felt warm, just to be in a space where you can share your thoughts without being like judged or anything like that. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. I wish I was in US now just to go and meet my partner there and just hug her because I really felt like I connected with her so, so much. I'm still like teary even now. But yeah, it was beautiful. Thank you so, so much for this. I feel like I've never been to therapy, but I feel like this was therapy for me today.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you so much for sharing. And I love that too. This does kind of feel like our own connection crew group therapy. Like this is how we kind of fill up each other's tanks so we can go out into the world really energized with connection. Chris, how did it go for you?
Yeah, hi. I feel like, well, the energizing part I really resonate with because it's, like there's when you get that deep connection, I find that that's really consistent. Like that's what I build my community out in the Seattle area called the Seattle Power Group on, energizing connection. Um, so I definitely can resonate with that. The other thing that I really noticed that I appreciate now that I've done this is my second time on your community calls is there's a very distinct pattern of where you're introducing the person, having talk about the context of what they want us to do, then actually modeling it, and then quickly doing it yourself. It's like three levels of learning. First the raw information, second actual demonstration of it, and then third learning by doing. And I really like that. I think that's a really great setup that you've got, and I really enjoy it.
Hmm. Thanks, Chris. And understand if folks have to go. Jen, good to see you. And people need to sign off. But I'm down to stay a few more minutes and hear from more people. Shelby would love to hear from you.
Yeah, hey. I was invited here by Dané, one of our panelists today. We used to work together in a consultancy and do this kind of work, facilitation, connection. Um, and I have been taking some time off. I'm very blessed to have been able to take a little time off to heal from burnout, grief, lots of things. 2020. Um, and in doing that, it's easy to get disconnected um, from peers and community. And I have been thinking lately about how much time I would spend each day connecting with people here. This is my office. I worked corporate remote. So is connecting with people all the time, and haven't really been doing much of that. So this was a breath of fresh air. And it just reminds me of how authentic connection just is good for everybody. It puts you in a state of mind that ripples out into the world. I had a spiritual teacher recently say that, all of the beings on the planet, all of the living things on the planet kind of give back, right? Give back to the earth. And we as human beings tend to be more takers, users of resources. But the thing that we really can contribute is a state of gratitude, like living in gratitude. There's not really a parallel for that in the living world. Our consciousness offers that gift to the world, and I think that connection is a real way it's a real pathway for that state of being. So I just want to thank you for creating this space for us to come together.
Thank you, Shelby, and thank you, Dané, for inviting Shelby. So wonderful that you're both here. Erin, good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. I was thrilled. This is my second time, and I think it's our new normal to be virtual, right? And I'm thankful for technology because it connects so many people you wouldn't have been able to connect with. So I'll first say that, but I feel as though I'm longing for some in-person connections, and that is going to be hard with this grand group of people from everywhere. But the universe paired me with someone that actually is local to me in Phoenix. And I just loved that. I mean, I just lit up and I was like, what? You're in Phoenix? Like, yay. And so that just automatically kicked it off, and we're gonna have coffee. And so again, it's just cool how, putting yourself out there, even, all the time, and what can happen from just moment to moment decisions that put you in the presence of people. And I'm inspired by everybody. I'm also curious, Lia, and I ask a lot of questions, and I'm trying to work hard to like contain some of that and not interrupt because I'm so excited and the things I'm working on. And I think that these mini breakouts give you like a short windows of opportunity to work on some of those things with people that are also just kind of inherently interested and want to connect, right? We have that in common. That's why we're here. And so, yeah, I'm thankful and was super excited. My partner is local. I don't see him on here now, but we are already planning.
Who was your Phoenix buddy?
Joaquin
Okay, cool.
Mattinson. Am I saying I butchered his name, and he's working with me. He's from Sweden, but here now in Phoenix, and just a wonderful, beautiful human. So I'm looking forward to that. So.
Well, thank you for being back, and also I'm excited to hear how it goes to meet in person with a Connection Crew member. Please send selfies from any in-person meetups.
For sure, will. Yes.
Final share from Ryan, and then we'll do a little bit of a exit altogether if you're still here.
Hansen, my friend. All right, this is a verbal bouquet to you and to everybody who's already departed, but now 2 for 2, second Connection Crew for me, where the person that was behind the curtain when you threw me in the breakout room was game for what you're asking us to do. And so I have no reason to doubt that that is the case for everybody. And I find that to be incredibly unique. Not only is this a refreshing version of this type of exercise, because not many people have the structure, but like the differentiator and the varying degrees of types of exercises that you have put together. But then you have to have somebody on the other side who's like, yeah, I might feel a little uncomfortable, or this wasn't what I was expecting, right? But they jump all in, and that's pretty impressive. So I'm happy that I saw the opening in my calendar, and then didn't find a way to cover it up, being like, I'm too busy, I don't have the time, right? I made a plan. I think I'm going to continue to make a plan, and y'all give yourself a round of applause, because this is not the easiest thing to do, while at the same time it is something that is needed. And so you fill a gap, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you all, and I really appreciate that verbal bouquet. Thank you for that. And one final gratitude and round of applause for Lia and Cole and Dané. Thank you for co-creating this with us. That was awesome. So, we typically have a tradition of doing a high five to exit, but we're going to switch it up today because I saw someone mention, I think Kevin mentioned, a group hug or like a virtual hug. And so we're going to do hugs today. So the way we exit, we're all going to do a virtual hug like this all at once, and then we'll have a clean exit as we're hugging each other goodbye. So thank you so much, everyone. So hug on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.